Well, we're back again. We have two new segments. This is one segment we kind of touched on it last time. We're going to talk about a list, and we want to thank all the viewers. All the viewers have done a great job, and they've written in, and we actually got a message from China. And Amit from China asked, and it was something based on something you had told me, Mike, in private, was that, you're looking at these playoff teams, and you got Mike Vick, and you got Roethlisberger, and it's amazing how people have forgotten what these guys have been through and what they've done, and, they paid their debts.
Short memories when the guys winning ball games.
Exactly.
That's right.
All they want are W's. And Amit got to asking us, who do you think are the 10 worst people in modern-day sports history? We each made a list, and there's going to be a lot of overlap, but, it's something worth talking about, given that you got a guy like Vic who's, in there for dog fighting, and a guy like Roethlisberger who did God knows what in bars and, by all accounts, was not a gentleman.
Right.
Now, this is not, I tried to make this in order. I have Ron Artest as number 10. I'm going to tell you why. Now, Ron Artest is nowhere near as bad as any of these other guys, but he is a lunatic.
He's completely crazy.
The thing about Ron Artest is he went into the stands and he fought that guy. Now, maybe you say he's justified. Ron Artest also, if you remember, asked if he didn't have to show up for preseason because he wanted to promote his rap album.
Right.
I don't know the sales of the rap album, but I can only imagine what they were. He's been in numerous fights, numerous technicals. He smashed that camera in Madison Square Garden. But here's what I read, this tidbit, that bothered me so much that I had to put him on here because it just makes him a bad guy.
All right.
Ron Artest, when he was playing for the Chicago Bulls, he's left St. John's, he's on the Bulls, and he was a good player on the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he was Sixth Man of the Year one year when he was there. He left his house, he went to a local Circuit City,
Yep.
and he applied for a job.
Come on.
This is a true story. He applied for a job, and the people there knew it was Ron Artest, and they figured this is great. Maybe he's doing something. Ron Artest he's had a history. Maybe he's some sort of community service. This will be good for the. This will be good for the people who come and want his autograph.
Yeah.
He got the job. Not so shockingly, his first day on the job, he turned to his manager and he said, "I want to buy that TV. It's $1,000, for example. How much is my employee discount?"
Don't tell me.
And the guy says, "You don't get your employee discount until you've been here 90 days. Ron Artest said, "Oh, I applied for this job so I could get the employee discount. I quit."
That cannot be a true story.
This is a true story.
I'm going to put him on my top.
Ron Artest took a job at Circuit City when he's playing for Chicago Bulls just so he could get a discount on the TV. And when he found out that he had to work 90 days...
No dice.
He's out of here.
A great story.
He's out of here. Number 9, I have Travis Henry. Now, the reason I have him number 9 was 9 seems to be a lucky number for him.
Former Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, that's your boy. Your former Buffalo Bill comes in at number 9, has 9 children with 9 different wives, and he pays child support on 0 of them.
I'm going to because he's my number 9. Yeah. It's actually 11 kids with 10 different women.
I'm sorry. Congratulations on those last 2. I didn't even know about that.
And they say
I didn't get that birth announcement.
His annual child support payment is $170,000 a year, but it doesn't matter. It could be he doesn't pay it anyway.
Yeah.
So, but that is what he's.
Well, he also started dealing drugs afterwards.
Well, that put him in the clink, and he's my number 9 also. So we're on the same page on that one.
Number 8, I have Tanya Harding, who for anyone that knows her, she somehow went from U.S. Olympic champion or runner-up, I believe,
America's darling,
to then hiring Jeff Gillooly. I believe she only paid him $10,000 or $15,000, which isn't a bad deal, by the way.
No.
To take a crowbar and, everyone knows when Nancy Kerrigan was screaming, why?
Yeah.
Then she somehow, shockingly was, found guilty of this.
Right.
And then she went into porn.
Yeah.
She was in celebrity boxing.
She did a lot. Yeah, she's my number 6. I had her a little higher. Yeah, Tanya Harding's a terrible human being.
Yeah. The person I have next, number 7, is Mike Tyson. Here's the thing about Mike Tyson. He pays it to society. So to some extent, I say, you know what? Maybe he was misunderstood. The guy grew up in Bronxville. His whole idea of life was force and violence. Maybe he didn't know any better. But what I don't understand is he came out as a Muslim.
Yeah.
Which is great. God bless him.
Right.
And then he decided, in praising Allah, he then declared, "Praise be to Allah, I want to eat Evander Holyfield's kids." Now, I know a lot of you guys aren't Muslim. I happen to be Muslim. and I went through the Quran before we got on here. Nowhere in here does it talk about eating children. I can assure you of that.
Right.
So I just don't understand.
It's a controversial book. I don't think that's in there.
Yeah. He has a tattoo on his face,
which is awesome.
Yeah, he is just, to say he is bizarre is an understatement. Yet it's really the only word you can use.
Yeah, he didn't make my top 10, but I'm not going to argue on that one.
Then I have Jay Williams of the New Jersey Nets. Mike and I are both Net fans. Jay Williams was making $80 million a year and had an unfortunate back injury. He then got a job on NBC Sports. So he's getting $80 million guaranteed, has a job on NBC Sports talking about basketball, doing what we're doing right here.
Right.
And what does he do? He does a responsible thing. He hires a chauffeur to take him and his buddies around in the city. But before that, he takes a pit stop in his bedroom, and he starts playing with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And he accidentally shoots the driver.
Yeah,
you know what? That's a shame. Doesn't make him a bad guy. Accidents happen. He then decides, you know what? I'm not going down for this. Let's throw him in the pool and say he committed suicide.
Yep. So his family thinks he committed suicide. This is a terrible guy.
Exactly.
I don't have the heart to put a Net in my top 10. So
and then after that, he's been in and out of trouble. He's been appealing. He's been getting DUIs. He almost drove off the FDR a couple months back. I mean, I don't understand what is going through this guy's head.
He's not a good dude.
Yeah. Number 5, which is baffling to me, and Tony D earlier today was bringing him up, is Lawrence Phillips of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, your St. Louis Rams, and everybody else. I believe the Toronto Argonauts for a few years. This guy, he had a lot of violence issues, even when he was in Nebraska. He won a national title. Nobody said a word about it, shockingly. Then, after his career was derailed, and people thought he was actually calming down, he was playing in Toronto, he was playing in a pickup football game with a bunch of 12-year-olds, didn't like what had happened, and he tried to run them over with his car, and is serving 10 years for vehicular manslaughter.
He went right. He's my number 7. He tried to run people over with his car. That's a bad guy. There's no way to.
You got 10. I got 31 years.
Maybe.
I think he was. It's 10 mandatory. I think.
Yeah.
And
Possibly 31.
31 if he doesn't play his car.
Teenagers with his car.
Dave Meggett, 3 times accused of sexual assault. Now here's my thing about Dave Meggett. You should never sexually assault anyone, obviously.
Right.
He was accused once, somehow got away with it. He was accused a second time and somehow got away with it. And yet he does it a third time because somebody owed him $200.
Yep. And it was a college girl the third time, right?
And he's about 40.
He's my number 4, Dave Meggett.
He's my number 4 as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Ray Caruth. Ray Caruth, while he was playing, ordered a hit on his pregnant baby's mama.
Yep.
The mother, unfortunately did not survive. The baby, somehow by miracle of God, survived.
But had cerebral palsy because of the...
Yeah. Ray Caruth serving 18 years.
That guy's my number 1. Maybe it's a little sensitive because my wife's pregnant. Your wife's pregnant too. But I mean, that is a terrible human being right there. Hire somebody to do that to her. You're pregnant. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it anymore because there's nothing to talk about. He's my number 1.
He'll be out 2018.
Yeah.
2018. He probably got a lot of legs left.
Number 2. I'm not really going to get into him. It's a sore subject among people at this table. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. I don't understand how a guy who murdered, well, let's call it what it is, he murdered his wife.
And then wrote a book saying, what if I did it?
Wrote a book about it. I don't understand how a guy who did that and got away with it still manages to find himself in jail because he was stealing back sports memorabilia.
Yeah.
O.J., you claimed you were looking for the murderer when you were on the golf course. No one in America believes you didn't murder your wife.
Literally got away with murder.
And you're mad that somebody stole your Heisman Trophy? I got news for you, OJ. Lay low, thank the Lord, and just move on.
He's my number 2.
Here's my
no
number
arguments
2.
there.
Now, my number 1, I don't know what it is about it. I saw a special on it, so maybe that's why it sticks in me, is Florida Marlin closer and world champion Ugueth Urbina. Now, here's a guy who I believe is from Venezuela. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, Venezuela, you're right.
He went home in an off season, as most players do.
He was an active player.
And he had a lot of workers at his house. Yeah. And they were doing something in his backyard, and he accused them of stealing something. Now, Ugueth Urbina has tons of money.
Yeah.
And in Venezuela, it's not like, the cost of living isn't exactly what it is in New York City.
Yeah.
So what did he do? He, rather than fire them, he went to his garage, got a couple gallons of gasoline, doused them, and then ignited them.
But he came out of the garage with a machete.
Butcher knife.
A machete? Who has a machete? But he had a machete, and you're right. He tried to light him on fire. He's my number 3, and I was worried you weren't even going to get to him.
He's serving 14 years.
Yeah, and apparently he's living like a king.
He's got a TV.
Yeah, he's living like a king down
His
there.
girlfriend, who somehow his girlfriend stays with him through all this. His girlfriend comes and visits him.
He's got an anger problem, that's all.
Who else you got on your list?
All right, the only other guys I got, my number 10, and this was, I had trouble with number 10. The problem with this list is we went, modern times, we're going to, hopefully we get a lot of people writing in after this with people we missed. I had Jose Offerman.
Oh.
Maybe because he went after Bridgeport Bluefish, and it's a little close to my heart, but my man charged the mound with a bat. So he was banned from ever coaching in
former Met, by the way,
in America again. Then he went out and punched an umpire down in the Winter League, and can now never coach in the Winter League.
Anytime you're banned from a country, that's probably not a good sign.
So he's my number 10. I put Big Ben number 8.
Wow.
I mean, not only was the guy a terrible person as far as women goes, but they the stories that come out of him walking into a bar and he's got more money than God and he's in Pittsburgh.
He won't pay the bill.
He won't pay the bill. You know what? And again, like we said, let's just forget about all that because now he's winning football games. I wouldn't mind having him on my team. I don't care if you're a good guy. Basketball. Right? I had Mike Vick number 5. Now, this guy, dog fighting, I know they say it's a cultural thing. Some people are brought up that way. You want to make the argument, you race dogs and those dogs are treated poorly, this and that. But why did he have to electrocute the dogs? Why couldn't he just... I mean, listen, I think dog fighting's terrible. I'm an animal lover. I think it's terrible. I don't understand it, but you could kind of make the argument if you want to, some crazy argument that it's just... Some people do that. Why did he have to... They're dying anyway. Why did he have to murder them like that? That's just a bad human being. It's like a kid with a magnifying glass. Yeah. And he's a grown man, multi-millionaire doing that. That's just a terrible human being. So those are the 3 we missed. But we had a lot of... I was surprised how many we had the same because it's a huge pool.
Oh, it's you can go on for days.
Tony's got 700
Who
guys
do you
on
have,
his
Tony?
team.
You have anybody different?
I was taking names off the list as you guys were mentioning them, so I'm just going to run through quick. You just mentioned Vic. I got Canseco. I got Canseco just because, the guy's...
He also is celebrity boxing fame.
He did. He fought Vi Sekahima.
Yeah.
It was not even a stereotype. It's more of a celebrity boxing thing, if you ask me.
Makes him a bad guy.
Dave Meggett.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Dante Stallworth.
Oh.
You got to mention. I mean, DUI.
Yeah, it's bad.
I mean...
He's a bad guy for sure.
And you got Plaxico Burress in jail for 2 years. This guy put somebody down. He's out in 9 months. I mean, that's...
Yeah, totally.
Lawrence Taylor.
LT's a pretty bad guy.
And did you guys mention Tiger Woods at all?
No. I don't even know what to say about Tiger Woods. I would just say that it was not a great Thanksgiving for him last year.
I'm glad you brought up Tiger Woods because as I'm going through this list, what I realized is I really don't care that these guys are bad guys. I don't look at them as role models. When I have kids, I'm not going to tell them to look at them as role models because, a year and a half ago, everybody thought Tiger Woods was a great guy. 2 years ago, everybody thought Brett Favre was a great guy. So all these people that you think are great guys, you hear this great story about Mark Sanchez, and he takes his kid that's dying, and he does all these things. You say, man, this guy's a great guy. But we don't know any of these people. We don't know them personally. So why, you can't assume anyone's a good guy. You can't assume anyone's a bad guy. I mean, it could be misunderstood. Yeah. Athletes are athletes. You go out there for entertainment. What they do in their personal life, it's fun to make fun of them because they're crazy. But, I don't look at anyone as a role model.
Yeah, it's true. Thanks again to Amit from China. We really appreciate it.
Keep listening, brother.
Yeah, you guys can send us all your ideas on the fan page and at our Gmail account. We'll be back with a segment that Mike came up with, and we'll see how that goes.